Most homeowners never think about their water heater until something goes wrong. By then, you're looking at hundreds or even thousands of dollars in repairs you could have avoided. With over 25 years in the trades, I've seen the same mistakes come up again and again. And today I'm walking you through 10 of them. Stick around because number 8 catches almost everyone off guard. And the bonus tip at the end could save your tank years of wear. The first mistake on this list is ignoring the anode rod. And it is honestly the single biggest reason water heaters fail before their time. The anode rod is a long metal rod, usually made of magnesium or aluminum, that runs down the center of your tank. Its entire job is to corrode so your tank does not. It is called a sacrificial rod for exactly that reason. The problem is that most homeowners have never heard of it, let alone checked it. Once that rod is fully corroded, there is nothing left protecting the steel lining of your tank, and rust sets in fast. On most standard tank water heaters, the anode rod is located on top of the unit, either under a plastic cap or directly exposed. You will need a 1 1/16" socket and a breaker bar, because these are almost always on tight. Before you pull it, shut off the cold water supply and release some pressure by opening a hot water faucet somewhere in the house. If the rod looks thin, flaky, or is coated heavily in calcium buildup, replace it. A new anode rod costs between $20 and $40 at any hardware store. Replacing it every 3 to 5 years can add a decade to your tank's life. Ignoring it can cost you $500 to $1,500 in a full tank replacement. That is one of the easiest trade-offs in home maintenance. The second mistake that quietly drains money every single month is setting the temperature too high or too low on your water heater. Most units shipped from the factory set somewhere between 120 and 140 degrees Fahrenheit, but a lot of homeowners never touch the dial after installation. That might sound fine, but it is worth knowing exactly what you are dealing with. Setting the temperature too high, above 140 degrees Fahrenheit, increases your risk of scalding, especially for children and older adults. It also forces your heater to work harder than necessary, which shows up on your energy bill every month. Setting it too low, below 120 degrees Fahrenheit, creates a different problem. Water sitting in the tank at lower temperatures can become a breeding ground for Legionella bacteria, which causes Legionnaire's disease. That is not a scare tactic. It is a documented public health risk. The sweet spot recommended by most plumbing codes and the Department of Energy is 120 degrees Fahrenheit for standard households. If you have someone immunocompromised at home or a dishwasher without an internal heater, you may want to bump it slightly higher. The adjustment itself takes less than 5 minutes. On gas units, there is typically a dial near the burner assembly. On electric units, you will need to remove the access panel and adjust the thermostat directly. A simple fix that most people overlook entirely. The third mistake is one that genuinely surprises people when I bring it up, and that is skipping the pressure relief valve test. This valve, often called the TPR valve, or temperature pressure relief valve, is your water heater's last line of defense against a catastrophic failure. If pressure or temperature inside the tank gets too high, this valve is supposed to open and release it. The problem is that these valves can seize up from mineral deposits and corrosion over time, meaning they will not function when you actually need them. Testing it is straightforward. There is a small lever on the valve, usually located on the upper side of the tank. Place a bucket under the discharge pipe first, then lift the lever briefly for about 3 seconds and release it. You should hear a rush of water or steam, and then it should snap shut cleanly. If it drips continuously after the test, the valve is worn and needs replacing. If nothing comes out at all, the valve is likely seized and must be replaced immediately. A replacement TPR valve costs between $15 and $30 and installs with basic tools. Neglecting this test is not just expensive, it is genuinely dangerous. A failed TPR valve under extreme pressure has caused tanks to rupture with enough force to cause serious structural damage. Test it once a year. It takes less than 2 minutes and gives you real peace of mind. Most homeowners have never done it once. If this is helping you out, do me a favor and hit that like button and subscribe. It helps get this video in front of more people who could use the info. All right, let's keep going. The fourth mistake on this list is one that affects nearly every home with hard water, and that is failing to flush sediment from the tank. Over time, minerals like calcium and magnesium naturally settle at the bottom of your water heater tank. This layer of sediment acts as an insulating barrier between the burner and the water, which means your unit has to work harder and run longer to heat the same amount of water. You might notice it as a popping or rumbling sound coming from the tank. That noise is steam bubbling up through the sediment layer. Left unchecked, heavy sediment buildup can reduce the efficiency of your water heater significantly, shortening its lifespan and inflating your energy bills month after month. In extreme cases, it can cause the bottom of the tank to overheat and fail entirely. Flushing the tank is something most homeowners can handle themselves. Attach a garden hose to the drain valve at the bottom of the unit, run it to a floor drain or outside. Shut off the cold water inlet and open the valve. Let it drain until the water runs clear. On older units with a plastic drain valve, be gentle. These valves can be brittle and sometimes fail during the process. If yours looks worn, have a replacement valve on hand before you start. Aim to flush your tank once a year. It takes about 30 minutes and directly protects your investment. The fifth mistake is one where the consequences go well beyond money, and that is improper venting on gas water heaters. When a gas water heater burns fuel, it produces combustion gases, including carbon monoxide. Those gases need a clear, properly sized path to exit your home. Vent pipe that is the wrong diameter, incorrectly pitched, or connected with the wrong materials can cause those gases to backdraft directly into your living space. This is not a theoretical risk. Carbon monoxide is colorless and odorless, and exposure can be fatal before you realize anything is wrong. The most common DIY errors here involve using flexible aluminum dryer vent instead of rigid metal vent pipe, pitching the vent pipe downward instead of maintaining a consistent upward slope toward the flue, and failing to maintain proper clearances from combustible materials. For most residential gas water heaters, you want single-wall metal vent pipe with a minimum upward pitch of 1/4 inch per foot toward the draft hood. Double-wall type B vent is required in certain applications, particularly when passing through walls or ceilings. Local codes vary, so always check before you start. If you have any doubt about your current venting setup, call a licensed plumber or HVAC technician for an inspection. The cost of a professional venting correction is a fraction of what carbon monoxide exposure can cost a family. The sixth mistake that trips up a lot of confident DIYers is using the wrong pipe materials for water heater connections. Specifically, the problem is connecting copper pipe directly to a galvanized steel nipple on the water heater without using a dielectric union in between. When two dissimilar metals come into direct contact in the presence of water, you get galvanic corrosion. Over time, that connection will corrode, leak, and potentially contaminate your water supply with rust and scale. The fix is simple and inexpensive. Dielectric unions are fittings specifically designed to separate dissimilar metals with a plastic or rubber insulating sleeve. They cost a few dollars each and are available at any plumbing supply or hardware store. Always use them when transitioning from copper to galvanized or steel connections at the tank. Another common version of this mistake involves using push-to-connect fittings or shark bite-style connectors right at the water heater in high heat zones. Most push-to-connect fittings are rated for use with water heaters, but always verify the temperature rating on the packaging before you install them. Fittings rated for standard potable water lines may not hold up to the sustained heat at the tank connections. Spend the extra Few minutes to use the right fittings, and you will avoid a frustrating leak down the road. The seventh mistake is one that has become increasingly relevant as more homes are built with closed plumbing systems, and that is failing to install an expansion tank. In an open plumbing system, when water heats up and expands, that extra pressure has somewhere to go back toward the municipal supply. But most modern homes have a pressure-reducing valve, or a check valve installed, which creates what is called a closed system. In a closed system, there is nowhere for that thermal expansion to go, so pressure builds inside the tank every time the water heats up. Over time, this repeated pressure cycling hammers your TPR valve, stresses your tank fittings, and can dramatically shorten the life of the unit. Many municipalities now require an expansion tank by code on any closed system installation. The tank itself is a small vessel, typically 2 to 4 gallons filled with air and separated by a rubber bladder. It absorbs the pressure spike every time your water heater fires. Installation is straightforward. The expansion tank is installed on the cold water supply line entering the heater, usually with a simple T-fitting. Make sure the pre-charge pressure in the tank matches your home's water pressure before installing. You can check the tank's air charge with a standard tire pressure gauge on the valve stem. An expansion tank costs between $30 and $70 and can prevent hundreds of dollars in repeated valve and fitting failures. The eighth mistake is one that nearly everyone is guilty of at some point, and that is delaying a water heater replacement past the unit's usable lifespan. Most standard tank water heaters are designed to last between 8 and 12 years. Some will push past that with good maintenance, but they are running on borrowed time. The problem is that homeowners tend to wait for a visible failure, meaning a leak or a complete loss of hot water, before they act. By that point, you are often dealing with an emergency replacement, and emergency replacements cost significantly more. You lose the ability to shop around, compare prices, or schedule a convenient installation window. You are now calling whoever can come out fastest and paying whatever they charge. That premium can easily add $500 to $1,000 to the total cost compared to a planned replacement. Check the age of your unit right now. The manufacture date is encoded in the serial number, and every major brand uses a slightly different format. A quick search of your brand's serial number decoder will tell you exactly how old the unit is. If you are pushing past 10 years, start budgeting and planning now. A proactive replacement on your schedule is always cheaper and less stressful than a flooded utility room at midnight. The ninth mistake is one that some experienced DIYers still make, and that is doing gas line work without pulling a permit. It is tempting to skip the permit process to save time and money, but gas line modifications without an inspection create serious problems that can follow you for years. First, there is the obvious safety issue. Gas line connections require proper materials, correct fittings, and a pressure test to confirm there are no leaks before the system goes live. Without an inspection, a small mistake can go undetected until it becomes a catastrophe. Second, unpermitted gas work can void your homeowner's insurance policy. If a fire or explosion is traced back to unpermitted work, your insurer has grounds to deny the claim entirely. Third, when you sell your home, unpermitted work can surface during the buyer's inspection and either kill the deal or force you to remediate it at your own expense. The permit process for water heater replacement or gas line work varies by jurisdiction, but in most areas it is straightforward. Pull the permit, do the work, schedule the inspection. It adds a small amount of time and a modest fee, but it protects your investment and your family. The 10th and final mistake on this list is one of the easiest and cheapest to fix, and that is not insulating your hot water pipes. Every foot of uninsulated hot water pipe running through your walls, crawl space, or basement is bleeding heat before that water ever reaches your faucet. You end up running the tap longer to get hot water, which wastes both water and energy. In colder climates, Uninsulated pipes near exterior walls or in unconditioned spaces are also at risk of freezing. Foam pipe insulation, sometimes called pipe lagging, is available at any hardware store and costs almost nothing. It comes in standard sizes to fit 1/2 inch and 3/4 inch pipe, the two most common residential sizes. It is pre-slit down one side, so it snaps directly onto the pipe. No special tools required. Start with the first 3 to 4 feet of pipe, leaving the water heater, then work outward along any runs, in unconditioned spaces. This is one of those rare fixes where the payoff is immediate. Shorter wait times for hot water, lower energy bills, and better freeze protection in a single afternoon of work for under $20 in materials. All right, here is the bonus tip that pros actually use and most homeowners never hear about. When you replace your anode rod, do not just swap it and forget it. Drop a small handful of water softener pellets, the standard sodium chloride type, directly into the tank through the anode rod port before you thread the new rod in. This trick helps break up existing scale deposits coating the inside of the tank and slightly softens the water contacting the new rod, which slows its corrosion rate. You get better protection and a longer interval between rod changes. It costs almost nothing since you only need a small amount, and it takes 30 seconds to do. Professional plumbers who service water heaters regularly use this technique to extend the life of tanks that are already showing early signs of sediment buildup. Combined with an annual flush, it is one of the most effective low-cost maintenance moves you can make to keep your water heater running efficiently for as long as possible. Thanks for watching the whole thing. If you got something out of this, leave a like, subscribe for more, and check out the other videos on the channel.